Hi everyone. So this is just going to be a quick review on Basketball Wives. I've been wanting to do reviews for a while, but I always seem to start watching shows later in the season. This one I jumped on it from episode 1 because honestly I'm not that excited about Basketball Wives even though I used to really like it, but I just yeah, you'll see why as I get into the review, but this storyline is just like so seems either really contrived or just like really really dumb, and all the women should be beyond this. And basically I am team Jennifer Williams. I'll tell you why. So the first episode just kind of, I'm not going to go in order because I watched it like last week and I don't remember exactly how everything happened. But just the highlights. Cece and Byron Sr. are engaged. If you'll recall from last season, there was a rift between Cece and Kristen is the girl's name. She's one of the newcomers. They were both newcomers to the show. Came together. They were friends, and I guess kind of like family because Cece was dating Byron, who is Kristen's father-in-law. So that rift happened between them last season because it turns out that Byron's not spending time with Kristen and her husband's child, and Kristen's husband is Byron's son, Byron Jr. So I mean that was whatever. I'm not going to rehash last season's conflict, but it's the precursor to what's going on this season. So Cece and Byron Sr. are engaged. It turns out that Byron Sr. allegedly doesn't want Kristen to be in the wedding or at the wedding, even though her husband is the groom's son. Um, I personally, just like in looking at comments online, I was surprised by how many people were saying Cece wasn't in the wrong. Um, and I'll get to that in a second. I realized I just skipped ahead of a part that I think is key to this whole conflict. So Cece basically tells another character, Evelyn, that Byron Sr. doesn't want Kristen, his daughter in law, to be at the wedding. Here's where I think she messed up. And it's related to how I think she messed up last season. Now, people are online saying it's not her fault that her fiance doesn't want a relationship with his son's child or whatever. First of all, I think it's really, really messy. Like, if you're even involved with a person like that and you kind of like, you're like, well, he said this and it's fine, it's not my problem. I'm side eyeing you because it's not right. Um, while it may not technically on paper be your responsibility as a matter of being a blood relative, to encourage this man to be in his grandchild's life and his son's daughter's life, I think that's the key to that relationship that people are missing. This is his child's child. This is effectively his child's life because his child just so happens to have a child. And it's just really messy to cut them off. Um, so yeah, like she can't control him, no, but like my problem is A, this is where the concrete problems in comes in. A, she the way she goes about communicating about this. For example, the way she told Kristen that her father-in-law has a problem with her, or with Byron or whatever. The way she told Kristen that her father-in-law doesn't want to be around. Like, how do you just go and you're just like, well, anyway, he said this. Like, either she should have stayed out of it completely, and like encouraged them to talk and him to deliver that message directly, or I don't know, maybe she could have brought everybody together and said, look, you have something to say to them. I like it's just messy to be like the messenger. Why would you want to do that? Why would you let someone talk you into doing that? And I really don't think he had to convince her, do that much convincing. And no, it's not helpful to tell your friend something like that in that manner, the way she did, her tone, like the whole thing. Um, and then she backs off and acts helpless when it's kind of like you just like delivered some really messed up news and then you step back like, oh, well, don't look at me a certain way. Like, what? Okay. Um, yeah, yeah. So carrying that into this season, I think it was extra wrong of her to be at a party where everyone is present, including Kristen. I mean, all the women are present. Byron wasn't there, of course, but The women are present. It's Shawnee's party for her son. That party didn't entirely. I will say the attendees at that party didn't entirely make sense, considering that it was for her son recovering from an open heart surgery. To me, that's like a more intimate family affair. But whatever. If she wanted to have the basketball wives and the cameras there, okay. That's where I think that got started off on the wrong foot in the beginning. We'll come back to the party. So at the party, Cece tells Evelyn that Kristen's father in law doesn't want her to be at the wedding. Why are you having this conversation with Evelyn? You know, like, so we've already covered that delivery and her being the messenger and all that stuff is kind of messy and it's not a good look in my opinion. But then to go to like an unrelated third party, and technically she and Evelyn were kind of like beefing back and forth with each other a little bit last season anyway. So why it's just so messy. Like, you're not that dumb or that innocent or that, I shouldn't say dumb. You're not that clueless and innocent that you don't see a problem with going to another person within your social circle and telling them that very intimate family business. And then the person about whom the business is, the, you know, like the bad news, to whom the bad news relates, gets upset with you about it. Like, it's just messy. Why is this not like a conversation for behind closed doors, or you pull her aside and like, you know, this is what he said, I let me know if there's anything I could do, like whatever, I don't know. But that wasn't it. The way the camera's portrayed, it looks as if she told Evelyn before she told Cece. Messy. So anyway, that's that. They're at Shawnee's party. I think Shawnee's party is kind of weird because like the boy just recovered from open heart surgery, and she's like renting out some sort of venue and having like all of her loud cackling friends, and it looked like family was there too, but like those women aren't his friends. Even if they want to support, like, I don't know, Shawnee should have had her own little girls get together for herself, and maybe they could have given him gifts or something, like sent him gifts or something like that. I'm pretty sure he didn't want to hang out with these women. um though he probably appreciated their support, I guess. But anyway, so the party goes way left when Kristen, who is not off the hook, I don't like Kristen's character. I liked her a little bit last season. Now I don't like her at all because before the party, she met with Jennifer, who is like the person who's quote unquote the not liked character this season, even though I think like, I don't understand the logic behind not liking Jennifer, especially carrying it over into a second season. We'll come back to that. But Kristen and Jennifer, who were friends last season, meet outside of the party, like before the party. They're at like a cigar bar or something. And then Kristen encourages Jennifer to come to Shawnee's party. Jennifer says, yeah, I can be the bigger person. That's someone's child. I would never wish that on anyone. Um, and so then later, fast forward to the night of the party, Kristen goes up to Shawnee at the party and said she relays something that Jennifer had said before about the rumor she's accused of spreading. Basically, she's basically saying like she doesn't understand why Shawnee's so upset about the rumor, because it's not like it was, you know, news to her. It was talked about in the streets a lot. And actually related to something that had actually happened numerous times in her marriage. So, yeah. So she didn't see the big deal. Although I really don't believe that, you know, based on Jen's tone, that she was saying that she didn't see the big deal. I think she was just kind of like, almost like being just like shade, but not like shade that goes that deep. It was just kind of like, really? I don't know why she's upset anyway. I mean, because everybody knows that he was like running around in the streets on her behind her back anyway. Like, kind of that. Like, I don't think she logically sat down and I don't know. I think she was just saying something flippant in the moment. Because to be fair, the women have ganged up on her, and I think her point was like, really, they're ganging up on me over a rumor that basically matches what he had been doing throughout the marriage that everyone knew about. Okay. Um, I get that. I get why like a friend would see something like that as insensitive, but not to the extent that Shawnee has taken it. So fast forward to the party. Kristen tells Shawnee that what Jen said about the rumor not being that big of a deal because her husband was like running around anyway. And she tells Shawnee that Jen is coming to the party that night. Shawnee flips out. Instead of just like either waiting till Jen arrived, asking her to, well, okay, so Shawnee did tell Kristen to text Jen and tell her not to come. I don't think we see that happen on the show. Personally, I think a lot of this is staged anyway. So, like, whatever, like, Kristen didn't send her a text, come on. So, in my opinion, I don't see her doing that, or having done that. But, so then, Shawnee flips out. If she comes in here, blah, 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 whatever, disrespecting my kids and their father or whatever. And it's kind of like she didn't. I'll get to that. So Jennifer shows up. Shawnee flips out and storms out of her party. Come on, kids, let's go. Because I'm about that life. And Inglewood will come out. This is the first time I hear about people from Inglewood running, talking tough and running. I think none of it was necessary. Either she should have pulled Jen aside or she should have had security or the door person at the venue ask Jen to leave and let that be that. And really, I think that was kind of overkill. I think Jen could have like expressed her whatever, her sympathy, her empathy, whatever for her child, and they could have just like existed in the same space but not been in each other's face, whatever. Not that big of a deal, especially given that the night was supposedly about her son. I think it was really more about filming, but whatever. So, that whole scene happens. Jen sits down, like, whatever, I'm not leaving. I kind of don't blame her, like, after that. See, honestly, I wouldn't be bothered with any of these women if I'm Jen. Because I think they're kind of beneath her at this point. But, yeah, so that happens. And then the usual stuff. I can't believe the women get together and then they're like, I can't believe Jennifer. Why would she show up? And Shawnee's still blowing things out of proportion. She showed her butt in front of my kids, which is not accurate, really. Jen didn't come into the party starting stuff. She had no idea what she was walking into. And party would not have gone left if everyone would have just like stayed in their lanes and just like, okay, she's here, I don't talk to her, fine, like whatever. So yeah, the show kind of ends on that note. I think, of course, they're doing their, well, we need to have a sit down and talk and whatever, and Shawnee's like, I'm not talking to her. Again, like, why are you still mad about this days later? Like, all she did was like, she showed up to express her sympathy. It's not like she showed up at the party and said what she said. Like, why aren't you mad at Kristen for coming up to you at the party and being messy and bringing that message back to you at the most inopportune time when everyone's supposed to be focusing on your son? That's the operative question. Anyway, and also, like, I sincerely hope that Jen reevaluates her relationship with Kristen because that's messy. They were supposed to be close and, like, whatever. Little sister, big sister, and she does that, but okay. She basically, ran and told that or whatever. So, okay. I'm gonna stop here because that's basically like the action as far as I can recall in the first episode. Obviously Shawnee's son was sick. He had a surgery and he made it out of the surgery okay, which is wonderful. He can go on and play basketball, which is great. But this conflict just seems so manufactured because it's been going on for 2 seasons. And here's the kicker. It's about something Jennifer said when she and Evelyn were on horrible terms, were not talking, and she had no plans of ever being this woman's friend again. And Evelyn was saying horrible stuff about her in like leaking it and among people they knew and whatever. Like, Evelyn was talking her crap as well because they weren't friends. Furthermore, the whole conflict was started by Evelyn because Jen told her to be careful with the guy that she married, and he domestically abused her. So, like, I just feel like they had to dig deep to find something to make Jen the scapegoat or like the unliked character, because like it would make sense that she'd be saying all kinds of things about Evelyn given the way Evelyn treated her and like physically threatened her and did all this stuff leading up to that, and they just weren't talking and were not going to be friends, and the ball was in Jennifer's court because Jennifer was the victim being attacked in that case. Um and I get why Shawnee's like, wait, whoa, you didn't say anything. But on the other hand, like, like making that comment about Shawnee's ex wasn't about Shawnee, it was about Evelyn. Because allegedly he did what he did with Evelyn. That was the rumor. And like it wasn't about Shawnee, so there was really no reason for Jennifer to bring Shawnee into it because it's kind of like it's something that like she knows that he's been doing with other women, and I like this isn't about her. She would just be collateral damage. It's about this person who's talking so greasy in the news, but meanwhile like look at the type of stuff you do. You're talking about friendship. But anyway, so I get it, and I think it's ridiculous, and I feel like either it's a fake, contrived plot that they've come up with, which is like it. This is really sad, if they're having to make things up like this for Basketball Wives, or it's just like a case of Mean Girls, like they're kind of doing the Mean Girl. I agree that Evelyn and Jennifer have played the Mean Girl role, even though I like Jennifer. Um, in especially in the Miami series, but and probably in LA, it definitely last season. They weren't that nice to CC anyway. Um but this is great, like they're just ganging up on Jen. Her mom's passed away, this and that. So yeah, I don't even know. I guess I'm gonna watch the season just because I need a show to watch, but this is so fake to me, and I might not make it all the way through the season because like it's like either this is super scripted or the majority of these women on this show are just like delayed or something. Like I don't even want to say that. That's mean, but like immature, like very immature, and should probably have better things to do with their time than to hold grudges over. I understand being mad maybe like for a little bit on Shawnee's end. And let's not talk about the fact that she's not mad at Tammy, which actually I'll touch on that. I didn't talk about her. Tammy Roman is not my favorite character. I don't understand why she's become a fan favorite. She's messy, she stirs the pot, and then she acts like she's above it all. So the way this whole conflict with Jennifer came up was because Tammy felt a way about her and Evelyn deciding to be friends again after years, and they decided to put everything they'd said about each other in the past. Tammy brings up this rumor, and here we are. And Tammy's not really being held responsible for that because no one is coming at Tammy. She's well received and embraced at the parties. Um, Shawnee doesn't seem to have much of a conflict with Tammy, and although she claims that their relationship has changed, but whatever. Um, Apart from that, Tammy married the guy she was dating secretly, and she hasn't told anyone yet. That's annoying to me because it's kind of like, does anyone really care that much? Like they had been together, and we're talking about getting married. Will they? Won't they? To me it'll be just like, oh, they did, good for them, all right. But she goes on these soliloquies about not wanting to tell people because maybe they won't care, and she doesn't know who's in her corner and who's not. Like no one cares, I'm pretty sure people are going to congratulate you and keep it moving. It's not worth this thing you're making big secret thing you're making it into. Like who cares? She takes the ring off when she meets with Jackie and Doug for a double date. Like that also screams we need to invent a storyline. And so here we are. But yeah, so I love Jennifer. She's my favorite on the show. I'm not really a fan though of the plots that emerged in episode 1. So I don't know if I'm going to keep watching the show. We'll see. Actually I did watch episode 2, and I'm going to come right back with a review on that. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.